everybody. It is 9 o'clock. This is our February 5th Properties Committee meeting, and I will call the meeting to order and ask that as you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. It appears we have a quorum. I see John isn't here, but he's the only one missing, so we will move right along to 1.04, which are the meeting procedures. The governing board and its committees conduct all of their meetings in compliance with Arizona Plan Community Association open meeting laws per ARS 33.1804 and in concert with RCSCW bylaws, policies, and standing rules. Parliamentary procedures, as outlined in the most recent edition of Robert's Rules of Order, will also be followed in all meetings as appropriate, consistent with bylaw, procedures for owner-member meetings, and standing rules number 2 and number 3. All right, moving along. We all received copies of the minutes from the January 8th meeting. Are there any edits, changes, deletions that anybody saw? If not, those minutes will stand approved as presented. Moving on to reports, 3.01, capital improvement projects. Herschel Walker. Herschel, you're up.
It's Workman, but that's okay. Yeah. Good morning. I have 2 projects that we completed this past month. The Sports Pavilion waterproofing project was completed on January 10th, and the pool deck refinish at Beardsley was completed on January 16th.
Any questions for Herschel? I had shared an anonymous, shall we say, email from somebody who was complaining about the Beardsley pool deck. I forwarded that to you. And this person still says that the pool deck wasn't properly power washed before that coating was put on. So do you have any comment on that? I'm not siding with anybody on this, but he's kind of adamant that it wasn't done properly.
So the issue they're talking about, the original terrazzo flooring had a polyurethane coat on top of it with aggregate. The contractor was paid to come in and remove that polyurethane coating. The stains on the terrazzo flooring come up from underneath. There's moisture underneath that terrazzo. We can't grind the terrazzo anymore. You would have to grind the terrazzo down to remove any surface stains or anything that are on that. They actually pointed some of those areas out to me whenever they are out there doing the work, but they completely cleaned the deck before they put their additional coating back on. They didn't remove the stains that were already there on the terrazzo because that would require them to do some additional grinding that they weren't paid to do, and we don't want them to do because there's no more grinding left on that terrazzo flooring.
Excellent. I appreciate the update, and that will get passed along. Any other questions or comments? Oh, yes, Mike.
I use the Beardsley pool a bit, and that's worked out pretty well in my opinion because it's not nearly, there's no slipperiness to it anymore, and before it was kind of slippery. So I think it was a good project.
Well, actually, we're having some issues with slipping at Beardsley. I have the vendor coming out today to do a test spot for me to try to remedy that situation, so there'll be more to come on that as time goes on.
Excellent. I'm glad you're aware of those issues with the decking there. Yes, Holly.
What's the time, like the life time on that, what they just did?
It should last a very, very, very long time.
Okay.
I think there are some issues with, in my opinion now, the last coating that was put on with the aggregate protruded a little bit higher above that, which made it rough on people's feet. And so when people would walk on it, they would actually break off that aggregate. You know, over time, it would wear down, and that's what led to some slippery locations. But if it's done correctly, it should last for an extremely long time.
Okay, I was just curious because you said we couldn't grind that terrazzo anymore. So to me, that means the next step is going to be completely replacing that, right?
At some point in the future, that will
Right,
probably happen.
so I was just curious how long that would be, but a long time. Thank you.
Jim?
This is the capital projects that are completed. Are we done with capital projects for the 25-26 budget year?
I still have the painting of the pool interior for Palm Ridge, and I'm going to try to coincide that with for the 26-27 capital project for doing the Palm Ridge showers and facilities up there. I wanted to do both of those projects at the same time, so I'd have to do one closure. So I was looking at probably doing that one over the summer. And I believe I also have the doors for the Kuntz Theater to install later on this spring.
Okay. I was just wondering if we could kind of have a bullet list of not just what's completed, but what's kind of, you know, our projects
I can do that
that we just
for
kind
the
of track
next one. Yes.
as we're going. Thank you.
Good idea, Jim. That would be great. Any other questions from the committee? Oh, well, Russ has got an answer, not a question. Russ?
So I would like to respond to that Beardsley question that Holly had. We are trying to get to our 5-year, within the next 5 years, that deck is coming due to be replaced. So this effort was to get it to that 5-year time.
Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the audience? Nothing online, Holly? Seeing nothing, we will move on. 3.02. Gee, Russ, you got your mic on. You might as well just keep going.
All right, strap in. It's a long list. Silvercraft, we have recovered 16 work tables. We have 5 more to complete in room 3, and then we'll be done. And the exterior painting at Beardsley, yes, we're still at it. They did break away from the building. They started doing the iron around the horseshoe area, and then they'll get back on the building. And we keep doing that as filler, so it is taking a little bit longer than normal, but that's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. Well, I'm trying to remember when the last spreadsheet I got with all the items that we had noted, the Properties Committee had noted and what their status was. That was a couple weeks ago, or?
The last meeting,
Okay, and that
Yeah.
went to all the committee members?
I sent that to you for you to distribute. I don't have everybody's emails.
I did.
Yeah.
I thought I did send it on. Okay, so, go ahead, Jolene.
So we have new paper towel dispensers. Does anyone know that?
What?
Paper towel dispensers. Did everyone get those, Russ? Oh, that's a Sabrina thing? I would think that you guys installed them though, right?
Some, not all. The company comes out and does the installs
Oh,
for
okay.
free, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, I was at Rip and Stone like, look at ladies. They're like, wow. I'm like, yeah, kind of cool. So, okay, thanks.
Any other questions for us from the committee? Oh, okay, Holly.
So I know that, so this is my first time on Properties Committee, and, you know, we tried this new tool, the spreadsheet, right, as opposed to just sending you an email. So I just want a few clarifying questions because I don't know how it worked historically. So the spreadsheet's updated monthly, and when I'm looking at it, I see rows like without work order numbers, or it says facilities ops, or it says railroad club, or it says, So I'm curious as to how do we get updated on like facilities ops stuff or I think Todd Patty stuff or things that don't have a work order number or anything like that?
So the work order numbers are mine.
Okay,
Todd Patty, I pushed all of his out to him so he could respond, and he's responded to almost all of them. Sabrina handles all of facilities ops. And then the club stuff, I believe there was some for Metal Club. I reached out to Casey Huta,
yeah.
who reached out to the Metal Club, and they got their mats fixed and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think it was the Railroad Club. So I think my question was just like, so you do reach out to the clubs and
Yes.
say, hey, property said this is an issue, fix it.
I'm the dealer at the table. I hand
Okay.
everybody their cards. Yeah, that's exactly right. And then they in turn send me the updates. I update the sheets for you guys.
Okay, because I didn't see any updates for like the facilities ops stuff or anything like that. There were a couple things that were updated.
There was no updates from the last time it got sent out because I checked it this morning.
Okay,
So-
okay. And then, so the spreadsheet, is it like, is it a long-term thing? Or are we like, hey, by the time this is done, right, which I think is May, June,
Mhm.
everything's gonna be done on that spreadsheet? Or no way, there's no way we can do that, and it's gonna be a long-term working document?
So a really good, for instance, 80% of the stuff that's on there are paint chips.
Okay, yep,
No way.
okay,
Wood shop, I painted the wood shop one time since I've been here, 34 years. They don't have time, they don't care, it doesn't bother them.
mhm,
You guys come through, you see it, and I try to explain it on site. It doesn't bother them. They don't want to be put out, I guess, if you will.
just for wood chips, yeah.
And if it gets really bad, absolutely, we schedule it and we get it done. But I got too many priorities that, like Beardsley, you see how long Beardsley exterior painting's taking.
Yeah.
That's priority over a paint chip here and there.
Right.
I did go back through and look because the pictures don't always tell you the story. I believe it was yoga. There was pictures of a few paint chips, but when you look, you could tell there was something rubbing along the wall for a long period of time. So we're gonna repaint that section of wall and actually put up a chair rail to fix that, so it's a little more than just paint chips.
Right, right.
But that's kind of how some of those go. I tried at the beginning of the walkthrough to point out to everybody that we're absolutely gonna see stuff, but that's not what we were there for. To keep focused on that big picture of, to see things that needed to be put in the budget. To try to keep those lists to a minimum,
Mhm.
because paint chips is not something that really should ever make it on the list.
Right.
We know they're there.
Because it's huge. The list is huge,
It-
right?
it absolutely
And so that's
is.
where I was kind of wondering are there things that are extremely low priority, like you said, where kind of throw them out and say these
Right.
are the big ticket items?
But
So-
it is documented, it's not going anywhere. So, we did bring it to the forefront. It just may not get done while you guys are all sitting at that table. That's all.
Okay,
Yep,
fair enough. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that you do work with all the clubs, Russ, and it's interesting though, because Lapidary didn't really care if we did anything there, but our committee really thinks it needed an update, so we kind of overruled what they wanted, but, Suzanne?
This question is for Russ also. Where we recommended that there be chair rails installed because of issues with paint chips and the like, will that be done? Or is that also just kind of down the road as you have time?
It will be done, but it will be done down the road, because the wall needs to be repainted.
Right.
I think it was Agave Room 6 at Beardsley.
Yeah.
Was one, and we've been in that room since then. So I've already came up with some ideas because I think it's an accent wall. So you have the opposing walls a totally different color. So we changed the color of the chair rail to the opposing wall's color. So we're switching colors, kind of add some pizzazz to the room because chair rails are normally kind of unsightly anyways. So yeah, it's not going to get forgotten. It's, my priorities change every day. When the phone rings, something more important comes up and, I have to put manpower to that problem at that time. So they will not be forgotten, I promise you.
That's wonderful to hear. For us in the future, when we're going through and doing these, is it best for us to make recommendations as to how to remediate a particular issue, such as suggesting a chair rail or that type of thing?
So normally what we used to do in the past is you would point stuff out to me, I'd take pictures and note it. So that way I know exactly where it is, I know exactly what it is, and then I make work orders based off of that. The problem with that is I now have to compile those so I can give you guys some type of a report. So I really like this new platform we're doing. We just need to maybe put the magnifying glass away and just see what we see, maybe lessen that list a little bit. But you can always ask those questions as we're walking.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I don't think it's out of place for us to possibly make a recommendation, but those are all operational ideas that in the end, we can say, well, we think a chair rail is needed there, but if Ops thinks that something else would work better, then let them go.
Well,
Yeah, no, I think we do need to make suggestions. Jim?
Kind of along what you're saying and what Holly was saying, I'm kind of asking myself that does it warrant us to review that list and whittle that list down to items that we feel that should be, it's not the magnifying glass, but items that of a punch list of, hey, these are of importance, and we like to have these tracked. Because I agree, the paint chip part, yeah, I think we got the magnifying glass out, but I'm sure there's some items on that list that kind of magnify or warrant attention, and they won't be forgotten. Well, 9/11 won't be forgotten either, and so I just want to hold some kind of accountability to some of those items that the committee felt warrant attention.
So I am that person. I've been doing this job for 34 years. Been prioritized every day. If there's something you disagree with, just reach out to me and we can make that change. But it'd be a waste of your time to go through that list. I already have it. I go through it every month, every week, because I feed work orders to the ticket system every now and then to try to keep them going, and I prioritize when I do that. So that's why I say the paint chips will be on there for a long time, because they'll be assigned last.
Yeah.
But they will be assigned.
I think maybe a way we could do this is, Russ, you could make a recommendation on that list of the things that you think should be dropped off that don't warrant being on that list, and then we can look at that and decide if we agree.
So you look at some of the items. There was a coat rack in the library that somebody felt that they needed more space. So we get with the librarian, she either agrees or disagrees, but there should be comments to every one of those regardless, whether it was a suggestion or something that needed to be fixed. It's either waiting to be put on a list or it was addressed. It's not an issue. Cubicles that were, felt like you needed more, that was your opinion, but it gets read, it gets addressed, and they either agree or disagree, but something should be in there on your reports to address everything.
All right, thank you. Jolene?
I love the new system, and I think it is a working document, and I think you're correct. All you need to maybe do is in your document saying, yeah, this is kind of low priority for us, or whatever. It's just so we kind of know. And I would imagine that this document will go to next year's properties, right? So it's going to be a working document. So, at least as a property committee person who's on it this year, or new people, they'll at least say, oh, this was already addressed and we can't do this, or yes, Russ knows about this.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do our tours next year, we should all have a copy of that so we can know that we don't need to give that to Russ because he knows about it.
Right.
So, but I love the fact that it's a working document and that you are adding your comments and that kind of stuff to it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right. Any more questions or comments from the committee? Any from the audience? Anything online, Holly? All right, thank you very much, Russ. Moving on to 3.03, Facilities Operations Report from Facilities Operations Manager Sabrina Oliveto. It's all
right.
yours.
Thank you, John. So one of the capital projects for this year is replacing that cardio equipment at Kuntz. So that was being done. Yesterday was install date. Today they're wrapping it up. And then tomorrow the fitness room is reopened with a community type of open house demos on that new equipment from 8 to 10 tomorrow in that Kuntz fitness room. And then over at Beardsley, another capital project item was replacing the pool furniture, and that came from properties last year. So we have received our 3 bids and awarded a vendor, and that will be ordered. If it's not already, it's being ordered this week. So that is what I have.
Excellent, thank you. Do you have any use for the old pool furniture?
At this time, I do not. That stuff is pretty heavy and
Okay.
outdated. I can't even go get that reslung like I can do with the other furniture. So if I can reuse it or make it updated, I will. But right now, I don't have a purpose for it.
Okay, just curious. Questions from the committee? Jolene?
Do you know the vendor for the furniture?
For the furniture, I do not off the top of my head, no.
Okay, and do you know what we purchased? I
Like,
mean,
as in what type of furniture we purchased?
correct.
Loungers, tables, chairs, side tables, and then out on the patio, we have one of the sofa lounge social setups as well.
Okay, because we as a committee never saw any of that stuff. So if you have pictures or the vendor, I would love to see it.
Okay.
And I think it's really important that we get to see it too. I mean, I understand that you made that decision, that's fine and wonderful. But after the decision's made, it would be nice that we saw it, we're on the properties committee. So if we have people ask, we can say, oh, well, no, they got the 3 bids. You know, we can then tell them that we are informed. So if you could send that, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, once I have those direct photos and a layout, I can send that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Great. Any other questions for Sabrina? Any questions from the audience? Nothing online? All right, we will be moving on. 4.01, Capital Improvement Projects, Budget Update. CIP Manager Herschel Workman, Golf Ops Pat O'Hara, Golf Maintenance Manager Todd Patty. We'll start with Herschel Workman.
Yeah, so I don't believe I'm going to go through this whole presentation that you've all seen before. I was just going to give you some updates on some of the things we have been doing, what's changed from the last time you saw this presentation. So I received the drawings for Phase 3 of ARC. I think it was either early last week or late the week before. I forwarded those drawings on to ARC for them to give to their steel fabricator so that he can put together his costs for the steel. I've also given those drawings to a general contractor who's going to give me a budget estimate. He's promised to give me that budget estimate by mid to late February, so by the time we meet next month, I'll have a firm budget number for the Phase 3 edition for ARC for you. The other thing I can pass along is the courtyard furniture. Sabrina just forwarded a estimate this morning. She has a dollar figure for the courtyard furniture, the renovation of the courtyard. She's going to work with the vendor and redo that quote. What I can tell you right now, there's some other things that we're looking at. Russ is going to have to look at getting power to the facilities out there that we want. So that number at the end of the day, we don't have a firm number yet, but it's probably going to fall around $80,000, give or take 5 or so. So that's just something to look forward to at the next meeting. Other than that, I think the tennis club is here to give a short presentation on platform tennis, proposed CIP project for that project. So I'll turn it over to them, unless you have any questions on any of the other stuff that I discussed or anything else.
Go ahead, Jolene.
On the courtyard furniture, can we Just asking. Can we see if we can stay within the same vendor that we purchased the stuff from Beardsley? Because this way, if we have to move furniture, you know, which happens all the time, right? We move stuff from one place to another place. It would still maybe look cohesive? Just asking, just.
I mean, we have to still follow that 3-bid policy, so.
Correct.
But the quote I have right now to start this conversation is from the same vendor I'm working with at Beardsley, so that is something we are looking at when we look at furniture, is even with lounge chairs that we currently have, when we get those redone, I try to do light colors or something that we
Right.
can move around if needed, so that's always taken into consideration.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
Go ahead, Jim. Along that furniture aspect, I was sitting out here in the courtyard before the meeting. I know that the furniture choices and whatnot are rec center decisions, but I kind of scratch my head at looking at some of this furniture that we have in the courtyard here. I mean, it's durable. There's no doubt about it's durable. I won't argue that. But it's not very comfortable, and it's not very eye appealing. And so I guess I'm kind of wanting to step in a little bit into the gray area to kind of see some. Is it an overreach of asking, like Jolene's poking on, of pictures of what we're considering, to kind of get our input on it as well? Because I mean, another example is the lounge furniture. It was put in out by the RH pool. I mean, that stuff looked like it came from Wayfair. We all know that ain't going to make the sun, and here it's not making the sun. And somebody made a decision that here we are making another decision on. So I guess my question is kind of along what Jolene's saying is, would we have the opportunity to kind of take a look at some of the products that you're proposing to purchase?
Yeah, once I get those final numbers, they're working up like a mock-up, kind of like the one I showed you guys, but with their style of furniture. I can definitely bring that to the next meeting. I will say the furniture that we have out right now at the R.H. Johnson Courtyard is not padded. There's no cushions on it. It's, but that frame is one that I have found to withstand our weather conditions, our heat. It does hold up very well. I'm not looking exactly at that style of furniture. We're looking for something that is more inviting, has a little bit more pizzazz to it, decorative, you know, whatever you want to call it, has cushions. But I still have to look at what's going to last. The stuff that's at the pool right now, you're referring to that wicker furniture. That's been out there for about 9 years. And I was not the purchaser of that, so I'm not sure exactly where that came from. But I'm looking at the furniture that we do have in all of our facilities, what withstands the most use and wear and tear, and then on my team for having to maintain that furniture. So we are looking at a couple different uses and reasons why we're going that direction, but I can definitely bring back some photos of what we're looking at with the quote that I get.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Sabrina. Jolene, you had something else?
I know. So once we know that, can you ask the vendor where this furniture is? Because there's a big high-end place over in 67th and I don't know what it's called, but it's a patio place, right? And when I've shopped patio furniture, I can go there and you can kind of see it and look at it. So if we know that we could maybe go and look at it somewhere here within the valley, that would be great too. And I'm sure if it is a vendor that is a great vendor, those places have their line.
I can definitely ask about that, and I can come back to the meeting if that exists.
Yeah, it would be helpful, because then this way, not that we would all take a field trip, because can't bring 8 people in there and say, oh, but because we're not, but the other thing too, you'll be really surprised, and I only know this because I had a girlfriend sell furniture back in Omaha. When you look at the vendor directly and then you look at a storefront, sometimes that storefront will meet that vendor price. Just saying. So then you have a local response as opposed to going directly to the vendor. But, and that would be the other question too. I would ask, you know, if we buy $80,000 worth of furniture from you, who is our local person that we're going to be talking to? Because we need a local person for, as opposed to some guy that's in New York. So,
I think we have to be careful here. I think we're infringing upon, we all want to approve what you do. Yeah, we do. Of course we do. We want to approve, we want to see what it is, and then we want to be able to approve it. And that's, what we need to do is be informed. It'd be nice if we were I think it'd be nice if we were informed ahead of time of what the potential purchase is. If we don't technically get a say, but then if the whole committee says, oh man, we don't like that, I mean, you could take that into account, so.
And I just, to your point, that you said potential furniture, the quote I'm getting isn't necessarily exactly what we are going to be purchasing a year from now when I actually have to go out to make this purchase. This is just getting you guys those numbers, the idea, because we started from scratch here. So this is just those beginning phases, and I can definitely bring back to the next meeting what we're looking at, but this was to get those budget numbers to decide, is this the direction we want to move forward with? And then that would be your final approval or recommendation.
Appreciate that. We always walk kind of this fine line between ops and policy, but I think it's particularly on the properties committee when we're dealing with all these property issues, we're really interested in what it's going to look like and if we like it or not. So we'll keep heading in that direction. So if there's no more questions, oh, Jim.
I agree with you 100% that there's that gray area. But on, you know, it's kind of it's a twofold situation, right? I mean, we have a vested interest as residents in this community of how our community is represented and you know, what we get the pleasure, or the honored privilege to utilize here. So we have that. And then there's the other where we have a responsibility representing our community and not just be a bobblehead and rubber stamp things. We've got to take that responsibility serious and ask these probing questions. So please don't take it negatively when we ask to be a little more clarity and a little more color on purchasings. But yeah, we don't want to get too far than not absolutely necessary. So thank you.
All right, thanks for those comments, Jim. If there's nothing else, we'll listen to the oh, hang on. We have another comment from the audience before we get there. Please state your name and your rec card number, please.
Gary Bach, 135435. As far as like the committee getting involved, I think one of the points is how much are we going to spend? And by that, I mean, you say you get $20,000. I'm just making up a number. It doesn't matter what the number is. And you go out and Sabrina goes out and looks for furniture, has $20,000, and you look at it and it's going to fall apart in 6 months. Or are you going to spend $100,000? And I think that's kind of where maybe the committee comes in to say, this isn't enough. We need better, nicer furniture, and ups that dollar amount rather than maybe, you know, the exact design in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. There's nothing else from the audience. We'll move on to the platform tennis. Welcome.
Thanks, Jim. Good morning to everyone. For those that don't know, I'm Larry Plaster. I'm the past president of the tennis club, having served as the president for 2024 and 2025. The reason we are here to make this presentation, the platform tennis courts are on the budget this year to refurbish the platform tennis courts. During one of the presentations to the Budget and Finance Committee, one of the Budget and Finance Committee members asked the question, is there enough participation in the platform tennis courts to justify refurbishing them? So there's two things I want to address. The first is to answer that question. The key point is we don't really know what the participation is. The rec center and Cliff went to the rec center and asked for data to see if we could show from data what the participation is for the. This is not moving, so there we go. Oh, there. I have control. The data that came back from the rec center shows, this is for all of 2024, this is for all of 2025, and it shows an extremely low participation rate. I just want to make sure everybody understands that this is not the total participation from the platform tennis courts. The club, and the participation is mostly from the club, for all of 24 and 25, the platform tennis scheduled play was in the morning, most of the time starting at 6 a.m. When you check in as a club member, and if the monitor is there, you have to check in the club track. He will not let you sign a paper sheet and say that you're playing platform tennis. You check in the club track. Club track does not differentiate. It doesn't tell you whether, it just says tennis. You don't know if it's platform, you don't know if it's table tennis, it just says tennis. So most of the participation data would be in club track. We just can't break it out. This data can only come from paper sheets that are manually entered by the monitors. So it's people that come in after the monitor is there, and they fill out a paper sheet, mostly non-residents playing, or maybe club members playing in the afternoon, but that's all this is. So it's misleading to say that our participation was that low for all of 24 and 25. Now, I'm not going to try to make the case that participation is extremely high. It's not. There's several reasons for that. The courts, these courts, the first sports courts at Sun City West were the platform tennis courts. Dale Webb came from the East Coast. It's a very big sport in the East Coast. And the first thing he built here were 8 platform tennis courts before there were anything else. At one time, we had up to 300 and 400 members playing platform tennis back 30, 25 years ago. But these courts have not been updated since they were originally built. They're more than 40 years old. They were painted once. That's all we've ever done. So as they aged, when you, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, as they aged and started getting things like this, many of you have been down to look at the courts, there are cracks, there are dead spots. They became more and more difficult to play a really good game of platform tennis. You didn't know which way the ball was going to bounce. So a great number of our better players just quit playing. So the participation has declined over the years as the courts became more and more deteriorated. So is the participation really high? No. Is it as low as that data showed? No, it's better than that. But we are very confident that platform tennis players, if we refurbish these courts, the better players that quit will come back, so the participation will go up. Additionally, we have a new sport in tennis called red ball tennis. Red ball tennis, if you're not familiar with it, USTA is highly promoting red ball as an adult sport. It was developed to teach juniors how to play tennis, but it's become very popular as an adult sport, and USTA has supported getting us started here, and it's growing pretty rapidly. But you play red ball tennis on a tennis court inside the service box of the tennis court. Very short box, don't have to run a lot. It's a nice sport for people that can't move very well. And it also teaches really good stroke technique if you want to go from there to playing tennis. The platform tennis courts are sort of an ideal place to also be able to play red ball. Court's almost the same size. It's a little longer, a little narrower, but other than that, you can play red ball tennis inside the platform tennis courts with the advantage of you don't have to go chase the ball to the wall every time you miss one. So some of our older players are beginning to play in there. As red ball grows, we're going to run out of tennis courts. We have 4 red ball courts on Wednesday mornings. We have 2 on Tuesdays. That's growing rapidly. When the tennis group goes from 10 o'clock starts back to 8 in the spring, there aren't going to be enough courts for red ball and tennis. The platform courts will become more and more used. So the tennis club says the participation, it's very hard to make a decision on whether to refurbish them because of participation. We don't really know what it is. Nobody does, because of the way Club Track works. So what then should be the factors for refurbishing the courts? We have a world-class tennis facility. It's as good as any place in the country. And the USTA came here for our SIS tournament last year and looked at it and said, boy, we would love to have a tournament at Sun City West because this is a beautiful facility, would work really well. We like a senior tournament. So we took that to the board, and the board has approved USTA bringing a senior tournament in here in 2027. It's important for us to show, when we bring, these people will come from all over the country, for us to show that we maintain our facilities. Now, from a racket sports perspective, we have 2 facilities here that are in very poor shape. Koontz is one, and platform tennis is the other. Both have not been redone in many, many years, and they look awful. The difference with platform tennis is most visitors that come here are not going to go over to Koontz and look down in the hole and see what it looks like. You know, once you get here, you see that. But everybody that visits the tennis courts sees the platform courts. You look down as you walk up to the tower and say, geez, what happened to these things? So for the aesthetics of our facility, to show that we maintain our equipment, it's justified to approve the budget to refurbish the platform courts. One of the questions has been, all right, should we refurbish them as platform tennis or maybe make some of them red ball only? Well, you could do that. It might reduce the cost a little bit, but it's not going to be a major cost reduction. But then you're limited to red ball on 2 courts and platform on 2. You have no growth capability for platform. If we leave it all platform, you can use it for red ball. So the best overall use is to refurbish it, refurbish all 4 of them for platform. We'll use them for red ball. And by the way, if you have grandkids, one of the best places to play any racket sport with a kid, a smaller kid, is inside the platform courts. Safer, they don't have to chase the ball all over the place. So it's a multi-use facility. It should be refurbished to maintain the aesthetics of our overall facility, especially tennis. And the participation, in our view, will go up. Red ball is going to go up, and the platform players that don't like playing on these courts will come back. So we believe it should be approved.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate those comments. Do we have any questions from the committee? Larry? Elaine, go ahead.
Okay, I have to first let you all know I am a tennis club and I do play tennis. So not that it's, okay, so there's a couple things. Everyone needs to know that if we only have a monitor in our tower from 6:30 to 10:30, I think. So if you, and this goes for any sport that is, that doesn't have a monitor and or is a sport court, if you go and check in and you're not a member of that club, you cannot check in. So Suzanne Jones goes and says, okay, I'm gonna play some tennis. She cannot check in just as a resident, because when you check in at Club Tracker, your Club Tracker only tells you the clubs that you are attached to. So that, I mean, so I'm just telling you as numbers, we really don't even have an idea after 10:30 if there's just regular residents playing, correct? We don't know that. And then the other thing is, with the USTA tournament coming, I'm gonna just put it out there, but I would think if those courts are refurbished, they're also going to encourage people to try the red ball during that tournament, because red ball is like exploding nationwide. That's my comment. That's it. We cannot not refurbish these courts. We cannot have another Kuntz situation. We just cannot. Kuntz is good thing it's in a hole, so no one sees it.
You know, I appreciate all the comments, but this is already in the budget. It's gonna get done. Unless somebody argues to take it out, it will get done, and we look forward to having it done before this tournament in 2027. That'll be great. So any other questions or comments for Larry? Go ahead.
It's
Colleen.
not for Larry, it's just in general, because I think I saw in here, you said they haven't been touched in 30 years since they've been, what's that? How did we get here? How did we get,
Just to be done before now. I wasn't here all the time, but I can tell you some of the reasons. 3 times we went through major battles with pickleball over turning the tennis courts into pickleball. Every time we're in that battle to add something else to the equation is, oh, by the way, we need to redo the platform courts. We just felt like if we can just keep the tennis courts, we're doing good. All the way up to 2017 and 18, where we completely redid the tennis courts. Why didn't we redo the platform courts? We were concerned that if we added one more thing to that the tennis courts wouldn't get redone. And most of our members are tennis members. You know, we have a lot of platform, most are tennis. So we didn't push it then. Since then, after the courts were redone, we had another major battle with pickleball, wanting to turn half of our tennis courts into pickleball courts. We fought hard to win that battle, we did, but it didn't, the timing for us to push to get the platform courts done, it just wasn't there. So I'm not really sure why it came up into the budget this year. We didn't ask for it, but it did. It's been on the repair and replace budget for years. Why it hasn't been brought forward, I can't answer. I can say that we haven't pushed for it for survival reasons as much as anything else.
Well, we had lengthy discussion on this, and the whole committee agreed that we should be doing this and move forward with it. Suzanne, do you have a comment?
Yes, would it be fair to say that red ball is the new pickleball?
That is USTA's goal.
Good.
And it's getting there. We've been a little surprised. I first played red ball tennis probably 10 years ago in junior clinics, teaching juniors how to play tennis. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but the difference, one major difference between pickleball and red ball, pickleball, the ball is hard. So a table tennis player that's used to slapping the ball, a racquetball player that's used to that, or a tennis player, you can all use your strokes and play. The red ball is larger than a tennis ball and it's softer, and you can't just tap it and get it over the net. You have to take full strokes. So as a training tool for teaching kids to play proper tennis, but allowing them to be able to actually get the ball over the net more than once, it's been a great training tool. But as we train, some of the adults are playing with the kids, and they get, they're getting some really good games. So USTA said, this is a sport that adults could enjoy as well, especially adults that can't move very well, because you don't have to do a lot of running, even less than pickleball. But the strokes are very good for tennis. surprisingly, when we brought it here, I thought it would be for our people that are less mobile. Those are the ones that would use it. We're finding our 4 or 5 high-level tennis players really love this game, and they're playing a couple of times a week. So it is, USTA's goal is to make it, whether it'll ever be as big as pickleball, who knows? But it is growing pretty rapidly, and it's growing rapidly here, including a lot of pickleball players that are playing red balls.
Well, Larry, we look forward to having that refurbished and having a lot more activity there.
I really believe we will, including me, by the way.
Holly?
I just have one more question. I just want to, so the people coming to play here, the adult senior is in 27. This is on the 26, 27 budget. Is it going to be able to be done by 27, the refurbishment?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah, that would depend on a lot of variables and everything at this point in time. I couldn't give you a good firm answer, so.
So who would set the priority for getting that done?
I guess, I mean, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I can push to try to do that. I mean, contractor availability. Let's say we're doing platform tennis and it's going to need the new fencing. I don't know. There might be a 6-month lead time on that kind of stuff because it's kind of a specialized thing. So I can't tell you that, give you that answer right now, so.
We don't know for sure yet, Cliff. Their planning is 2 years out, so we're within that 2-year period. But most likely it'll be in the fall of 27. So, I mean.
Fall of 27 shouldn't be a problem, so.
That sounds good. Suzanne, did you have a comment?
Even if we don't have the time to complete the renovation of those courts, couldn't we put up a sign that says, coming soon, renovation of these courts, in the unlikely event that we don't have the time to get it all done?
Yeah, certainly that's something that could be.
That way, at least they would know that we recognize there's an issue with these courts and we are addressing it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can move on from this. We've had plenty of comment and it's going to get done. Okay, Russ, we'll let you comment.
I just want to clarify the history. So I can only go back as far as 91, but that entire facility had a 100% asphalt replacement. And then as that wore out, it got Pro Bounce, which is what currently is what platform tennis is sitting on, is Pro Bounce. Just wanted to clarify that's not been sitting with no attention for 40 years. I didn't know how important that was. The only thing that's original is that chicken wire fence and the structure itself. That's all.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Any other comments from the audience? Anything online? Well, we will just, I think we've expressed that the committee at least would like to see that as a priority. Of course, everything's a priority to us, but this is another specific priority we'd like to see before they have a USTA event there. All right. Thank you, Herschel. Moving right along, 4.02, revised property facilities policy reviews. We're just going to strike that because we've already done that and we've already approved all these policies to be moved forward to the board. It kind of got on here by mistake, thinking we had to re-review after a couple of minor changes, but we do not. So we will scratch 4.02 and we will move on to comments. We will, committee comments, we'll start with you, Holly.
I don't have anything at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn?
No, nothing to add.
Mike?
Nothing for me.
Julie?
I'll be silent. I'm good.
Suzanne?
I have a question. When I was, the packet that we get online from, on the hub, when I clicked to try to get into all of the projects and all of that, I wasn't able to get into it. It took me to some other website that you had to log into. So,
Was that the governor's hub?
I had the same problem the other day. I had the same problem the other day, so I can kind of walk you through it.
you
maybe.
walk me through what to do?
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's-
Because it would have been very beneficial to have had all this in front of me before.
Yeah, you should be able to, but there's another way.
Okay, there's a
Otherwise,
back
Karen-
door.
Yeah, otherwise Karen can tell you too, so.
Okay, thank you. That's it, thank you.
Lindsay? Jim? Go ahead, say it, Jim.
So I've been paying attention to the master plan wall, and the community has been putting in some incredible ideas. And there's still, I want to encourage anybody and everybody to continue putting in those ideas, because that's what's going to steer our future. But as I've been reading those ideas and sitting on the properties committee and attending BNF and governing board, I'm kind of coming across a lot of questions, and I'm hoping that I can get, I guess I'm looking to have us all think, back up a little bit with the state water allotments, the mandate that we had, that the prior folks approved a retrofit schedule of all of our golf courses, where every 2 years we're building up the reserve fund, and then every 2 years we take a chunk out and retrofit a course, and then to where we've got kind of minimum reserves. And so as I'm kind of sitting here thinking about this, we've met our allocation requirement with Grandview and Echo Mesa, and yet we're on this path of retrofitting the 5 remaining courses. And so that puts us on a 2-year schedule. That puts us out 10 years of this cycle. And I'm deeply concerned that we've got $280,000 spent on a master plan, to where a lot of these ideas are going to shake out a short punch list, you know, a 1 year, maybe 5 year, and maybe a 10-year ideas. And yet I'm concerned that we're not going to be able to fund any of this. And so I'm kind of asking myself, that seeing that we're teeing up Stardust here, that, you know, have we given consideration of stretching out that schedule? I mean, I understand the life cycle. I understand everything needs to has its time and place, but I'm also thinking, you know, we've got a shopping list coming up, and how are we going to balance all of this to where we can plug in some of these ideas and at the same time do the golf course retrofit. So I guess my question is, you know, has people given consideration of stretching it to 3 or maybe a 4-year schedule, to where we can plug in some of these master plan ideas, or start budgeting for some of the longer term ideas that are coming? I just wanted people to think.
I think those are very, very good comments. I've heard a lot of those comments from other residents. I think what we have to bear in mind is budgets are living documents. Budgets are not set in stone. I know we have certain things budgeted, but I would hope that after we do our master plan, if other priorities come up, that we can defer some of the golf course projects. I know that there are maintenance issues on irrigation and other things there, but it's going to be a board decision after the master plan is done to determine how we're going to move forward with the priorities identified by that master plan. And I would suggest that the budget that we currently have could change drastically. Who knows? But I think we need to be open-minded, and we need to consider all these other possibilities that could come up. So those are my comments, and I'm kind of along with you there, Jim, but this committee won't get to make any of those decisions. There'll be board decisions, but I think the master plan was going to point out what those priorities likely should be. So I'm really anxious to get through the process, see what happens, see what our residents say, and what our consultants come up with. I think it's going to be pretty exciting, and we'll see what comes down the road. Do we have any comments from our audience?
It's Chris Waller, 140558. But I'm gonna speak as I'm also the president of Water Fitness Club. So I'd like to give you or share with you another perspective of the Beardsley Pool Deck. I'm not complaining. I understand what's going on. I just want to let you know the impact that we've had. We were super excited to start an evening water fitness class. When we announced that, we've got a lot of people joining the club for the first time because they were unable to do it, come in the morning. We also have new members to our community that have joined the club, right? Because they're still working or they prefer evening classes. And Beardsley was not my number one choice for water fitness because the acoustics are so poor. So as a club, we've done whatever we can, brought our own little boom box and readjusted our music. But it was the impact that this has had. We've had new people excited to start a new club activity, come to a pool, and the acoustics were terrible in the first few days until we tried to figure things out. We're trying to build momentum, and then unfortunately, scheduled maintenance, it's time to do the deck. So we have to take a week off. And as a president, I'm like, oh man, are we going to lose any momentum we're getting? We come back, the pool deck doesn't look much better. And only to find out about 4 or 5 days later that currently right now, the pool deck is caution taped off. So there's no walking on the pool deck. You walk through the locker room into the pool on some mats that are put there for safety purposes. And again, I understand all of this. I'm just letting you know that as a president of a club that where we have some momentum, and I'm excited about the momentum that our people are, I'm worried that every class, somebody's going to turn around and say, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to walk on mats and not be able to walk through the pool. So I understand you hire a contractor, sometimes things don't work the way you do, and we're all trying to do the right thing. I just wanted to share a different perspective because for us as a club member, it's as a club president, it's cringeworthy to see the impact this could be happening. So I don't offer anything to do better. I appreciate everybody's work. I just thought that here we discussed the Beardsley pool deck as maintenance that we needed to be done. It got done. It wasn't done satisfactory. We're going to come back and do something better. That's all true. But at least for our club, it had quite an impact.
Thanks for your comments, Chris. I'm sure it has been most inconvenient, and I know Herschel is well aware of everything that needs to be done there, and hopefully it will, when they finish, it will be better than it is. So,
Can I just ask a question about that? So why don't they move you to like Palm Ridge, or is it taken at the same time, or?
Again, there's a lot of give and take we preferred Palm Ridge. Well, there's other people that like to do Palm Ridge. And then you have to take into consideration children's swim and other clubs and things like that. You know, we asked for that, we just didn't get it. I'm not complaining about that. That's just the fact, right? We do Palm Ridge in the morning. The acoustics are better at Palm Ridge, but the acoustics at Beardsley are just absolutely unacceptable, you know? But I've also been told over the years that many things have been looked at. It would be very costly. So it's the building. It's not a sound system. It's the building that is causing the problem. I'm having this conversation and the building sounds like this when you're talking to somebody. It's the building is poor that way. I'm happy to have it at Beardsley. I'm happy to get it all. I'd love to get it at Palm Ridge. I'm not here for that purpose right now. You know, I'm just answering your question.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's a safety issue, right? Why we wouldn't say, hey, you know, until we address this and all these people are going to be coming using the pool, right? And we're walking on mats, which is also probably some sort of a safety issue. Why it's just not relocated?
I want to give them credit. I think they probably are being over safe and taped off the area that possibly could be a problem. There's no problem going from the locker room into the pool. That's not a problem. The idea of the mats, that's unsightly. You know, it's a temporary thing. I don't feel like there's any safety issue right now at all. It's just not pretty and it's inconvenient.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thanks for the question, Holly. Anything else from the audience? Is there anything online, Holly? All right, then. Our next Properties Committee meeting will be on March 5th. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 10:06. Thank you very much.